I did, and the ones I talked to are angry. Esther Parrish is one of at least 100 students who protested right here outside the Theta Chi fraternity house after seeing ECU's sexual assault alert. Those students calling for accountability. Val, Frank, as you mentioned, there is a very heavy police presence. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see it right here behind me. We have seen dozens of law enforcement patrol cars whiz past us to this area just in the few minutes that we've been here. Again, you can see Craven County Sheriff Chip Hughes behind us getting out of a truck. We are waiting to hear more information as to what exactly happened out here this evening, and we will be providing live updates for you on the scene here. Sheriff, we're actually live here on News Channel 12. We really appreciate you being out here this evening. Do you have any update that you can provide our viewers tonight as to what exactly happened out here? The State Bureau of Investigation agent just got here to the corner of Fleetwood Street and Forest Hill Drive just a few minutes ago. In fact, I want to step out of the scene here just so you can see a little bit more of what's going on. You can see that state vehicle here behind me. To start, investigators say they did not find a body in that car. That was something they were concerned about this morning. We also know that the fisherman found the car not far from where I'm standing. It was right here in the upper Broad Creek. Because of those accidents earlier today and the icy conditions that caused them, you can see here behind me the police barricade blocking off one of the access points to the US 17 bypass, also known as the Lewis Sewell Bridge here in Jacksonville. This is just one of all access points to the bypass blocked off. That's where ice just like this accumulates. Take a look at what we're seeing even on our news car. Airport officials and passengers I talked to both believe that people are just tired of being at home and feel safer as COVID cases are dropping. But whatever the reason, it means good news for Eastern North Carolina. Take a look at the sheer amount of people lined up, the line extending all the way down the street here at the Seafood Festival. This is just a small representation of the amount of people law enforcement and business owners tell me they are expecting this year as much as 2 to 3 times the amount of people we normally see. You can definitely tell there is a party and a celebration going on here at the Beaufort Hotel in Carteret County. In fact, joining me this evening is newly re-elected Congressman Greg Murphy. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I mean, you just won re-election with over 62% of the vote tonight. What's your reaction? Well, according to these warrants in my hands, former Commissioner Peter Van Vliet was found in possession of at least 12 child pornography videos, some of those involving children as young as 2 to 5 years old. His punishment for this, probation. Max and Laura Oglesby tell me they're not only in shock, they're angry, confused, and heartbroken seeing their son endure what police say is child abuse. We know right now that witnesses last spotted Vanderford somewhere near the Twin Span Bridge right here in New Bern, about 200 yards from where we're standing at the Outback Steakhouse here on Howell Road. In fact, this is where the Craven County Sheriff's Office has set up their command center. You can see right here behind me all of the patrol cars set up. Demonstrators have been handing each other food, water bottles, supporting each other, and preaching one message, and that is to remain peaceful. Many of the demonstrators that you see here right behind me tell me they want no more violence. They only want accountability from police. They want the release of that body camera footage. All day long, we've seen an outpouring of support from the community, and I want to show you exactly what I mean. Take a look here behind me. You can see this big cardboard bin is full to the brim, overflowing, in fact, with non-perishable food items for the 150,000 families in need in our area who don't know where their next meal is coming from this Christmas. In fact, that's just a portion of what we've collected today. Take a look over here too. All day long, we've been emptying out these cardboard bins into this tractor trailer over there because the donations simply can't fit under this tent. All of that is going to the food bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina. In fact, up till this point, over these past 5 days, we've collected more than 186,000 meals for families in our area. But the best part is you still have about 2 hours left to donate. In fact, if you haven't gotten a chance to come out and donate yet, I'm going to show you exactly how you can. Here are some items that you can purchase right inside the store. Piggly Wiggly's made it really easy for you. You can either purchase a $5 bag or a $10 bag. And here's a little glimpse of what you'll find inside. Take a look here behind me. It's a pretty slow scene here at the Carteret County School building. In fact, that's what poll workers here in Beaufort tell me it's been like all day, which is not necessarily surprising considering 60% over that actually of registered voters here in the county voted prior to Election Day, and this is just one of 26 total precincts. Now, for voters who are casting their ballots today, let me show you the process. As you can see here, hand sanitizer stations are throughout the entire room. There are also masks for any voter who forgets one, and every single voter gets their own pen to limit person-to-person contact.
This is breaking news.
We begin with breaking news tonight. The U.S. Coast Guard does confirm a plane went down about 4 miles east of Drum Inlet near sea level in Carteret County. Now, here's what we know so far. NCDOT crews are working to clear roads around the clock as some interstates and major roads are still covered in snow and ice. News Channel 12 Star Connors talked to one NCDOT official. And Star, what's he saying ahead of those frigid temperatures overnight? We begin with breaking news tonight. Crews are responding to an overturned fuel tanker that is actively leaking fuel in Newport on Highway 70 just inside the Carteret-Craven County line. Now, that's according to Newport Fire Chief Benny Whitley and Fire Marshal Eddie Lewis. Now, here is a live look of the blockade currently set up on Highway 70. Update on the suspect officials tell us they are searching for after last night's standoff in LaGrange that continued into this morning. That suspect here is 30-year-old Robert Lee Strother. He is facing several felony warrants. Our Mariana Rodriguez she joins us live. Mariana, you've been out there with authorities all morning long. What's the latest update? Back here at home, meteorologist Anthony Baglione has been busy in the studio today, keeping an eye on Hurricane San in the Atlantic. Anthony, do we have any updates to this system as of tonight? The U.S. Marine Corps has identified the 4 New River Marines killed Friday when their aircraft crashed during a NATO exercise in Norway. Their names are as follows. Another storm is gaining strength in the Atlantic. Hurricane Sam, you've been tracking this for us, and you mentioned it's now a Category 4, but will eastern North Carolina feel any impacts? Well, Anthony, Los Angeles is on track for the hottest Super Bowl in NFL history, and we're not just talking about those jaw-dropping ticket prices. You mentioned temperatures are going to be high. Well, first tonight, happening right now, multiple crews are on the scene of a structure fire on Morse Circle in Swansboro that officials fear was threatening to spread to the surrounding woods. Our News Channel 12 crew says the fire now appears to be out, but this video was taken just minutes ago, and you can see crews are still actively there on the scene. Bucket after bucket of freshly harvested shrimp sold at Miss Gina's Fresh Shrimp Stand in Carteret County.
Take it on away. The best.
The constant flow of customers, just a typical day for Monica Smith and her family. The generational shrimpers have been selling out of their locally caught crustaceans for the past 3 decades.
We sell everything that our 2 boats catch right here out of this driveway. Most of our people are just filling their freezers, feeding their families. We have people local. I had someone come from Maryland, Georgia.
Yet Monica fears all that will soon change. That's if the state adopts a recent proposal from the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries. It suggests closing down almost 69,000 acres of coastal waters to shrimp trawling. That area includes the Neuse River, the Bogue Sound, and its tributaries, to name just a few.
I would say that 50 to 75% of the shrimp that we bring in are caught in the waters that are being potentially closed. So it would cut our business by 50 to 75%. And personally, I don't know a business that can sustain that kind of a loss. I know that we certainly wouldn't be able to.
According to the proposal, the closure is meant to cut down on the bycatch of finfish, crustaceans, and other protected or endangered species unintentionally getting caught during shrimp trawling. Yet Monica feels that's not a sustainable solution for a coastal community so dependent on the industry.
Friends that we have, they shrimp the same waters. You're still cutting them. And honestly, some people are barely making it as it is, and now you're going to take 50 to 75% of where they work out. you can't sustain it. Those people would have to go find full-time jobs elsewhere.
I reached out to the Division of Marine Fisheries directly for comment, but they referred me to the proposal instead of answering my questions directly. However, the proposal does state the eastern North Carolina region produces nearly 500,000 pounds of shrimp on an average year, reeling in close to $700,000 annually. Monica fearing that number will significantly decrease if the proposal goes through.
The supply of local shrimp would decrease dramatically if you could get them at all.
Monica understands the concern for the environment, as do her loyal customers.
You gotta come up with some kind of solution that's maybe a compromise solution for both sides.
Yet both believe there has to be another solution, one that doesn't involve closing down the waters her family has trawled in for nearly 30 years.
I don't feel like the closures are the answer. We need these waters.
Now again, tonight's meeting begins at 6 o'clock with public comment beginning at 6:30. This is the first of 3 meetings state authorities are holding at the Islander Resort. The other 2 happening on Thursday and Friday. News Channel 12 will be continuing to provide coverage on both of those meetings. I'll also be covering an in-depth investigation that will air on Sunday. Wheels on the ground, tow hitch ready to go. Mike Gray, the record manager at his family-owned company, Gray's Towing, gets ready to rescue yet another driver off the road.
Neighbor 911. Hi, calling because I saw a wreck on Glen Burnie, right over the Glen Burnie Road Bridge.
That accident was called in Thursday, February 18th, at the Glen Burnie exit on Highway 70 in New Bern.
So I don't know if an ambulance is needed or what, but I thought I'd call, and it looks pretty bad.
A call New Bern Police and the Havelock Towing Company have heard far too many times in the past several months, specifically in that area.
We have definitely seen an increase in the last 6 months to a year. It's more than tripled the amount of cars either in the ditch or accidents in and around that area.
An increase Mike has never seen before. In your 15 years of working in the towing industry here specifically in eastern North Carolina, have you ever seen this many accidents at one exit?
Not in one specific area, no. Definitely a safety hazard.
According to NCDOT data, there were 6 crashes at the Glen Burnie exit, heading both east and westbound from September of 2018 to March of 2019. In comparison, there were 36 crashes at that same exit from August of 2020 to February of 2021, a 500% increase, or 6 times the amount of previous crashes.
There's multiple contributing factors, I'm sure, but there is definitely something off in that area.
I sat down with NCDOT traffic engineer Steve Hamilton to address the uptick in crashes.
Oh, the sheer number of them. Yeah, it's unusual that you have that kind of spike in crashes, but we haven't looked at any of the details on the specific crashes to see what was going on or why.
I, however, did. After pouring through NCDOT records, I found out of the 6 accidents of the 2018 to 2019 period, a third were rain-related, half caused by animals, the rest attributed to drinking and driving. In the 20 to 21 period, in 78% of the 36 crashes, rain played a contributing factor.
And 27 of the crashes were ran off the roadway left to center, so it could have been hydroplaning.
But here's the catch. According to data from the National Weather Service, the average rainfall per month in New Bern was only half an inch more in the last 6 months in comparison to the previous time frame, posing the question, is rain exclusively to blame?
I'm not going to point any fingers, but it is coincidental that it maybe started in or around the time they did the paving.
In August of 2020, the same time the uptick in accidents began, NCDOT repaved that exact area of Highway 70 where drivers keep running off the road, an issue I addressed with NCDOT engineer Hamilton. According to the National Weather Service and their data, the rainfall totals and even the days that it rained weren't very significantly different.
The amount of rainfall is important, but it's also how many days or the intensity of the rainfall. It might, if it's lightly drizzling on a new pavement, that's probably when it's the most susceptible to slippage.
What's concerning for me, I think, is why this specific area, because then looking at the data, at the Clarks Road exit, just west of the Glen Burnie exit, in that same 2020 to 2021 time frame, there were only 8 accidents. And then at the exit directly east, the Business 17 exit, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe seems to be a very busy intersection, there were still 13 less accidents in that 2020 to 2021 timeframe than at the Glen Burnie exit. So why are we seeing 36, a 500% increase as well, at that particular exit?
Well, at this point, we really don't have an answer to that.
Hamilton even admitted the Business 17 exit sees more traffic. 40,000 cars a day versus 24,000 that travel the Glen Burnie exit. In theory, the number of accidents at the Glen Burnie exit should be far less, but that's not the case. Seems to be a strange coincidence that the accidents started, this uptick started in August of 2020, and that's of course when NCDOT had repaved that specific area.
Well, the new pavement is different than the old pavement. It's a different mix than what was down on the road originally. I mean, I think there's some statistics that show maybe the new mix, when it's first put down, is more susceptible to slippage. They have been reviewing these, and we'll look at this location more now that we're aware.
Mike hopes that's true, fearing the next call could be one his tow truck alone can't fix.
Maybe that's what it'll take, unfortunately, for something to be looked at is a death or a serious injury, or the right person getting in an accident. I don't know.
Now, I asked Hamilton what the next steps are now that they are aware of this issue. He said engineers will be looking at each crash report individually to determine an exact cause and see if anything can be done to curb those crashes. Reporting live in Greenville tonight, I'm Kate Hussey for News Channel 12. I sat down with Attorney General Josh Stein almost a year to the day after I spoke with him around when the system was first implemented. He tells me sexual assault kits, some of which sat on the shelves for years, are now being tested by the thousands. One of those kits seeing action, a horrific rape out of Fayetteville. It's cast a shadow over detectives for decades.
September of 1992. I was actually in college when that case broke, but I remember hearing about it.
It's one of the most brutal cases Fayetteville police have ever seen. And for Lieutenant Michael Petty, it's a case that still torments him.
This case, it impacted so many people.
An unsuspecting woman suddenly attacked, struck in the back of the head while working her night job in a cemetery. Waking up in the trunk of an unknown car, unable to make out anything but three looming silhouettes.
They drug her from the vehicle, took her into the wooded area, tied her up, and brutally raped and beat her to the point that she was near death. She basically stated that she felt like they were trying to kill her, and she played dead, and they left her there.
Miraculously, she survived, but never forgot the message they left for those who found her car.
They spray painted on the hood of the vehicle the Three Horsemen. So this case, since 1992, that's what we've called it. It's the Three Horsemen case.
But with limited DNA testing capabilities and critical evidence destroyed, those clues meant nothing. The case sitting on the shelves of the Fayetteville Police Department for years, leaving a victim without closure and three violent criminals on the streets.
In this case, it sort of haunted me since I've gotten here.
A tale of injustice Attorney General Josh Stein says he found startlingly common in law enforcement agencies across North Carolina.
When I came into office, we did a count and came to the distressing realization there were 15,000 untested sexual assault kits.
In October of 2018, Stein implementing a sexual assault kit tracking system, allowing victims to track their sexual assault kits the same way we track a pizza. I think last time I talked to you in 2019, the state had processed over, I believe, 2,400.
Yes.
Where are we now 2 years later?
In terms of testing these kits, we've made a lot of progress. More than 8,000 kits are ready for testing. They've either been tested or they've been approved and sent to the lab.
8,000 kits tested means more than half of the 15,160 kits previously sitting idle are bringing their brave owners one step closer to justice. Is this proof the system is working?
It is working. We are solving old cases. In Durham, They have had 11 different arrests that applied to 15 different old sexual assaults, and that's happening across North Carolina.
One of those cases, the almost 3-decade-old case in Fayetteville, a call the lieutenant wasn't expecting to get.
And the first thing I hear Courtney say is, "Can I tell him?" And she said, "We got a hit." And I think I dropped a couple of explicatives.
One of 3 horsemen a DNA match, and now in custody, giving the lieutenant hope the other 2 horsemen are not far behind. Are you still looking for the other 2?
Absolutely. We're not done. We're not done. This is just one piece of that puzzle.
Both Stein and Lieutenant Petty say while we've made a lot of progress testing these sexual assault kits, we still have a long way to go. Stein says the problem now is that we have such a huge influx of kits being tested that private crime labs are becoming overwhelmed, which slows down that testing.